Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Celso Batalha. It's a pleasure to communicate with you. We have a workshop coming up on astronomy in ancient Indian culture, the sky as it was and the sky nowadays. And what I would like to do with this video is it's kind of a highlight some of the numbers, how some of the numbers appear in Indian culture, how that has anything to do with astronomy. And for that matter, I recommended that you download Stellarium software. And so if you follow the instructions on the first letter I sent, you should be able to download on your computer. And Stellarium is free of charge and can run in Windows 7 or more recent, can also work or run in OS system and in Linux. So right now I'm assuming that you have Stellarium in your computer, and that's what it should appear. And then I also recommend that you have your systems centered in San Jose, and the way you do that is by bringing the cursor to the left-hand side, location window, and then the search button. You just type San Jose, and then you look up San Jose, and there you go, San Jose, United States, and then you check this box, and then you get out of there, and that's it. You should be able to read San Jose on the lower left-hand side, and also the time that is in is the time of your computer, right? But you can make changes if you want. So later on, you can play around and you can explore the software more. If you need any question or if you need an assistance, just email me and I can help you to go through. But right now, once you set to San Jose, I recommended that you open the file on date and time, July 31st, wasn't it? July 31st at 1 a.m. July 31st at 1 a.m. And I also asked you to bring the cursor to the left-hand side and then highlight this icon right here that gives you at least the traces of constellations, and it can also highlight this one to give names, and then it shows the moon in Capricorn. See that? Moon is in Capricorn. And what I asked you to do next is to bring date and time. Oops. There you go. And then go find out how many days it is required to have the moon going back to the same position in the sky in respect to the constellations, which means if you step your software one day at a time, so how long it will take for the moon to be in the same sky position with respect to the background stars, which means how long would it take the moon to go back to Capricornus at that location, right? So what you do, you go, you advance one day. See, the moon is a little bit east of Capricorn, so it's 1 day, 2 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So if you go 28 days, it passed the position. Remember, the original position was somewhere here. So it is somewhere more than 27, but it's not exactly 28. And in fact, I asked you to do several times and then try to estimate where that position really was. And if you do a careful measurement, you should get pretty much close to 27.3 days. And if you consider these were done without any software, telescope or anything, um, 27, 27 is a day. And then if you go to India or if you go to China, you find these different cultures um, talking about the 27 mentions, the 27 houses of the moon, but they are basically um, the moon's position in the sky as the moon orbit Earth, I think in respect to the background stars. So 27.3 days is the so-called sidereal lunar month, which is how long it takes the moon to complete one orbital turn around Earth. Now, if you set on the moon, remember on July 31st, last Friday, was the blue moon. So the moon was full. But if you look at the moon 27.3 days later, so after the moon completes one orbital revolution around Earth, and if you look carefully at the moon, uh, you're going to see it that is not 100% lit. See that? It's 91.2%. So the moon is not entirely full 27 days after. In fact, you can come over here and let me see. And expand the moon, and in fact I suggest you to do that, and then you see that the moon's in fact uh, in the ocular view appears the right hand side is kind of a dark, but in reality it's the left hand side. The moon is waxing gibbous, so the moon is not entirely full, and in fact it would take another day and another day, in fact 2.2 days, for the moon to be full again. And that is the so-called synodic lunar month. So synodic month is how long it takes the moon to go from one given phase to that same phase again. It's about 29.5 days, and give and take some errors due to observations, if that was done 2000 or 1000 years before our time, that is pretty much where the number 30th came from, or 29 came from. And so they knew 29 is not good enough, 30 is not good enough, there is some break number of hours here, and that's why when they built the first calendar based on the moon cycle, and they tried to adapt that to a calendar governed by the sun, it was a heck of a complication because you have to insert some hours or days every other number of months in order to account for those break integer numbers. Okay, so that's the difference between synodic and sidereal, where the number 27 appears. So if you take 27 and multiply uh, by 4, and then you have another important number, 108, in the ancient traditions, the number of times you have to repeat certain exercise or certain mantras, and all of that is kind of based on the moon, or combinations of the time it takes the moon to go to these 27 houses. Okay, good enough. I also post on the handout a link. Oops, sorry. I post on the handout a link you can check right here, that you can kind of be more aware of those differences, not from the perspective of somebody standing on Earth, but from somebody standing outside in space looking at the moon orbiting Earth. and then you can understand better. In fact, let's go to these places and check that. There you go. This is the one. So if you look at this animation here, it's pretty cool. So we start out with the moon in a new phase. Let me stop here. So this is the moon in the new phase, right? So we have a nice alignment: Earth, Moon, and the Sun. And then Moon is going to orbit Earth as Earth goes around the Sun. Stop right there. So Moon completed one orbital cycle. That's the so-called sidereal lunar month, 27.3 days. But as you can see, the Moon is not aligned in between Earth and the Sun. You require a little bit more of time for the Moon to be exactly in between Earth and the Sun. And now it is a new moon, and now we are talking about synodic lunar month, about 30 days, 29.5 days or so. Okay, so enjoy these animations, and I hope you enjoy that one.